Songbird's role in the rollout and kind of how you feel it's going, and the longer term role of Songbird.
Sure. So Songbird is the canary network for Flare. What we've stated is the canary in the coal mine. So Flare has three key protocols, really. There's the state connector, which allows state from other networks to be used by smart contracts on Flare or Songbird. There's the FTSO, which already exists and which people are staking to, which is Flare's native Oracle system. And then ultimately there's then the F assets. And that is the asset from XRP, Litecoin, Stellar, etc. on Flare. And those three protocols kind of interlock, and it's quite a complex system. There's a lot of testing we need to do. Songbird is like the ideal place to do that. The reason being is because we've told people it has some risk embedded, but it isn't a test network. It's a sort of form of a mainnet, but that's used for testing. And so that then allows us to get those protocols into the right shape to launch Flare into a production sort of network that we are much more comfortable with, in terms of saying that yes, we're happy for large amounts of money to be put through the F assets on Flare. We certainly would not say risk your life savings on the F assets on Songbird when they go live immediately. We'd certainly not advocate that anyone does that. So that's the role of Songbird, is to test the technology. Having said that, we know that the base EVM chain and the FTSO, it's sort of fairly stable now. And so there's quite a lot of utility that we think people could build on top of it, and we think we'll start to build on top of that. And so then what's really the long-term sort of utility for Songbird is we've positioning it, we think of it as this long-term network where governance-led changes that are voted on by token holders on Flare are implemented first, so that it gets all of the new technology that Flare Foundation and anyone else basically proposes and accepts, and so gets that 6 months to a year in advance, or however long. Having said that, it will have a disparate group of token holders over the long term. And things like the state connector present a myriad of potential opportunities that people could build applications for. So to give you an example, on Flare, we use the state connector, principally, we use it, anyone else can use it for a different manner. We use it for the F assets. But you could use the state connector to do a number of other things. One of the things you could do is, because you can see what's happened on another network, you could take the price from the FTSO, you could maybe stake against that price in a smart contract on either Songbird or Flare, and you could say, I'm going to deliver that price to another network like Ethereum. You got yourself a decentralized oracle. Then the state connector can see whether you delivered that price, whether you delivered it at all, whether you delivered the right price at the right time, whether you did it honestly. And you can then have automatic smart contract controlled slashing, and then you've got yourself an Oracle protocol. Really interesting, like cross-chain Oracle protocol. It's not something we're building. It's not something we're thinking about building. It's an alternative thing that we're thinking about. Like, what can the state connector be used for? There's an endless amount of potential use cases and loads of stuff we haven't thought of. That's what I think. If you ask me what is Songbird, it could completely diverge from what Flare is doing with the state connector, and it could be a home for completely new and different use cases. Entirely up to the token holders, entirely up to developers.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, again, it's the like empowering people to build.
Yeah. So
that you don't have to build is kind of the really cool part of all this. Like, where do you see the role of Songbird, 5 years out, 10 years out, like as the network really is mature? Like, will there still be a need for the development network?
So I think the governance. So the governance aspect of Songbird is really, of Flare, is really important. Songbird is the place that those changes are implemented first, and that's what we think Songbird will be used for. And there's no reason to think that Flare would ever stay necessarily. Flare as a network ever needs to stay static. 10 years is a 10 years is a long time in life, but it's in crypto. I think it's all of time. Well, it is all of time in crypto right now. So there's no particular reason why governance wouldn't be trying to optimize Flare continually over time, at which point Songbird plays very much an important role in that. However, as I said, I think earlier, is that Songbird can take its own path. It can do different things with the state connector. It can have a governance vote, and it can include different tokens in the F asset mix. It can completely diverge from that canary network role if it wishes, up to the token holders, up to the developers that want to develop on Songbird.